They can come closer than close. Yeah. Original, they never will be.
Welcome to the channel, welcome to the vlog, Car Connections. All right, just to answer a few questions on the Hyundai IONIQ 5N. I think one of the questions was specifically, this one seems to be showing up a lot, is, you know, the way they advertise this car, it's a track monster, which it is, by the way. It's, right now I have it in full suspension. I'm gonna show you the settings because that's another question a lot of people have been asking. What type of settings is the car on? And I'll show you guys right now, but I have it in the most roughest suspension possible. I love driving my cars in like, you know, if it's 10, the highest, I'll put 10 on the highest when it comes to suspension, steering feel, performance. I like for it to have the most performance across the board. I want to feel everything about the car. The question is, how do I drive it? That's how I drive it. This car has a lot of different settings. It is a track monster. However, it is a daily driver, guys. So there's a button over here. It's called your drive modes. Normal mode to me basically removes everything about what makes the car special to me. It reduces the performance. It drives like any other EV. I feel like, you know, electric cars already don't really have soul, and I feel like it becomes even more soulless once you remove that setting. And again, it's this one right here is the drive modes. You have different drive modes. Sport is fair. Eco, oh boy, I mean, you've literally cut everything this car had. And then normal to me, again, doesn't do anything for me. It's the most comfortable ride setting, so if you're more looking for that Cadillac vibe, that floaty boaty type of vibe, where maybe you've had a long day at work and you really don't feel like hearing all the noises and feeling all the suspension and all the, you know, street imperfections, and that's the what I would call super chill mode. And again, it's super, to me, super floaty boaty. That's the way I would call it. Almost drives like my old Dodge Charger Scat Pack when I had it in its normal settings, not sport suspension. Just very floaty, very relaxed, very chill type of vibe. Literally, it's easy to daily drive this car, guys. You can flip this car immediately and it'll turn into a completely monster. You guys saw some of the settings there. And again, if you go into sport, the car kind of tightens up a little bit. I don't know what Hyundai's doing, but the steering wheels tightens up a little bit. The suspension gets a little bit firmer, but also I think a very, very comfortable ride. You're still not feeling all the imperfections in the car. And again, extremely comfortable. So again, for you guys that are asking those questions, yes, you can daily drive it. You just got to put it in the right settings, and so on and so forth. And of course, the way I like to do it is I put it in its full N mode. And I drive the car, I'm gonna say 99.9% of the time like this. And if I go home over here and I go to the N settings, I'll show you all the settings so you guys can see. In its full suspension, and when it comes to suspension, steering, motor, everything is full sport. And that's the way I like to drive it. Now, let's talk a little bit about the sound, right? Because that's what this car's known for. And if I put this over here, you might not hear it, but the engine sound just cut on. I'll put this in park real quick. Maybe you can hear it a little bit. It does pop. I think it might sound a little louder, you know, on the outside than the inside. Again, that's augmented noise. It's pumped in through the speakers. It's also pumped out to, you know, people walking outside. There's a speaker or speakers that are put outside of the car to magnify the noise of the 4-cylinder. What's interesting about that suspension is there is a difference between putting it under that and of course just a traditional EV full performance, you know, balls to the wall performance. When you put it in the, you know, sound or that type of, you know, setting, the engine kicks in, but it does make the car slower, guys, because it's basically augmenting an 8-speed like dual clutch transmission. And as the gears change, you know, if you're driving it slow, you can feel the gears kicking a little bit. It's when you're driving it in full, like, again, balls to the wall, where you'll hear, you see that? You could hear the, almost like the dual clutch shift. You'll feel it in your body, by the way. The car kind of shakes a little bit through each gear to give it that augmented reality. And it is a cool feeling, right? So if you're trying to give your car a little bit more character, which again, the EVs lack of when it comes to stuff like that, they're just really fast in a straight line. That's what you do. And like, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I just, and right there, I don't know if you guys felt the body shook, my body shook as the car shook. Again, they did a really good job in simulating the gears, okay? Here's what's interesting. I wish, and maybe I haven't figured it out, I like the way the car feels. Like when I take it off of this and I still have it in N, and if I put it in the augmented exhaust for the gears, the car does feel different. The steering's a little tighter when I put it in the exhaust and augmented, call it reality. It does feel better. It feels better. It feels tighter. It feels a little bit more, I can't explain it compared to when I remove it, like right there, it's quiet. And I have it in full EV setting. The suspension still feels similar, but it's just not the same. And to be fair, maybe it's in my head, but they feel different to me. So I don't know if you guys, any other Hyundai IONIQ N owners out there have noticed that the car feels, suspension and steering just feels different when you put it into the augmented sound. And maybe it's just, you know, maybe the sound is playing tricks on me.
Your mind is playing tricks on you.
I don't know, but yeah, I drive the car like this without the sound. I'm gonna say with the sound, look, the problem with the sound, guys, is after a while it does get a little bit old. It is cool, but it's almost like a drone sound to it that stays consistent. It's just like right, there's no, it doesn't have any variance in it. And so it's fun. It's just that sometimes, you know, it can get old fairly quickly. So every now and then, I'm gonna say I drive the car in super, if you wanna call it EV and this full track suspension, I'm gonna say 80% of the time, and 20% of the time I'll drive it the way I'm driving it right now, which is with the exhaust and the gearing selection. All right, guys, so there you go. Let's wrap this up real quick. Can you deli drive the Hyundai IONIQ N? Yes, you can. Select the right mode, fits your comfort, and then you can take her right to the track and be like, well, pretty much supercars out in the market for a hell of a price. So I hope you guys like that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on your notification button. Car Connections. Peace.